Hello again, sweet darlings. After starting this channel, I have felt for a while that I need to address how we treat one another as women. There's a trend, which perhaps has been going on a lot longer than I've been aware of it, that when we see a woman excelling at something we haven't yet attempted or considered as important, we can get nasty. It seems to be so hard just to be happy for one another. And maybe we are happy for these women who are doing great at serving their husbands, looking beautiful every day while doing farm chores, or homeschooling 8 kids without looking tired. But so often what we respond to content like this, or people like this in real life, is, "You're just lucky," or "You don't have to do that, you know," or "My way is working just fine, thanks." It seems that there's something in us that makes us threatened by effort and by excellence. That mirror held up by others that reminds us we aren't perfect and we could do better. I'm sure that for each of us there are all kinds of reasons why we might be reacting to other women in this way or to their content online. And I'm not saying that you are doing this, or maybe you are but you're just not aware of it yet. I know that I'm not perfect in this area, and it's something that I'm still struggling with, which I want to explore a little bit more in this video with you. But just to say that although it's super important that we're feminine with our husbands and that we try to become feminine wives and we serve those around us and we love them and we become feminine mums and lead by example to our daughters, we also need to be feminine friends. And I've had a few of those women in my life, which I'll talk about later as well. Or maybe you know someone like that who you admire. Maybe you admire someone online. But I know that for me, often when I'm feeling a little bit down in myself or just trying to find an excuse for why I don't need to do something, I go into a bad habit of putting those women down who are doing things well that maybe I know that they're important and I just don't want to do it yet. I'm being a bit lazy, or maybe I just haven't actually realized that it is important yet and the difference it might make to my own life. So that's really what I want to explore a little bit more in this video with all of you. Just being honest as I can and encouraging you where I can as well. When we come across this kind of effort or excellence in women that we meet in real life or in their content online, we get defensive because maybe we aren't coping. Maybe we're hurting or battling something that we just haven't managed to make peace with yet or overcome. So instead of saying, "Wow, that's beautiful," or "I hope I can do that too someday," we tell ourselves that excellence in that area doesn't matter. We tell ourselves that we already excel at XYZ and that's enough, so we don't need to worry about that other thing. And to an extent, this could be true. My priorities in my marriage and motherhood might not look like your priorities. For example, I love wearing skirts and dresses and find that I need something tangible like that to remind me on a daily basis to have a more feminine approach to my homemaking. But that doesn't mean that I think that wearing a dress defines the best homemakers. I'm sure that there are so many beautiful homemakers out there who do it in jeans and a crop top, and their hearts might be much warmer and their homes more welcoming than mine. And although I do believe that all women actually look more beautiful in a dress, nothing beats a smile and a good attitude at the end of the day. I know that when I'm interacting with other women at church or in our community, I'm often trying to deflect the focus off of myself in my mind or my own sins and weaknesses. I haven't got my toddler under control, but I tell myself that that's okay because at least she isn't doing XYZ that so-and-so's child is doing. Or I notice that a woman might have a very beautiful and tidy home, and I tell myself that's just because she doesn't have any dogs. I always have an excuse, and I'm quite tired of that. Because it's my ego and it's my pride, and it is quite exhausting. I've been trained in this feminist world, as I'm sure many of you have been too, to convince ourselves and others that we've got it all together when we really don't. Letting go of this approach seems to others who don't understand why humility is important that you're somehow belittling yourself or putting yourself down by admitting that you could do better in an area of your life. I've been slowly working on this, and I'm by no means an expert. I know that it helps me, though, to admit that I've made a mistake, because once I get defensive and I don't admit that I've made a mistake, I start to tell myself those little lies that it doesn't matter, or I'm okay as I am, or something along those lines. I also know that it helps to ask for the help that I need with something, even if it's just the encouragement to try something again, or a conversation where my husband points out where he believes I could be doing better. Those kind of conversations were so hard for me when we first met. I had spent my life just hearing how great I already was, but without a vision for who I could become. But when I started diving into this with my husband, I identified the kind of woman I actually wanted to be, and he believed that I could be her, even though she was worlds away from where I was beginning. I want to be like Elaine, I told him, one of our dear friends in Canada. She used to have 20 people over for Sunday lunch and didn't seem overwhelmed by that at all. She welcomed us in and never made any mention of the fact that we had no faith. She was warm and bubbly, and she sang while she worked. I remember us digging in her garden together, singing Elvis Presley tunes. And we used to drop by her house after school unannounced, and she never made us feel unwelcome or that she was too busy. Her whole purpose and priority was to love others and to look after them, and I don't remember her ever complaining or talking about herself. So I feel very lucky that I actually knew a woman that I could set up as my ideal. But I have no idea if I can achieve what she seemed to be to me, and probably there are things that I'll do differently. But it's about how women make other women and everyone else feel, I think. It isn't really about sourdough or homeschooling or how you dress or how your house looks. But can you put yourself to the side, or to the very back even, in order to love someone else? Can you open your door with a smile when on the inside you might be struggling? Or can you really listen and give someone the feedback that they need to hear so that they can grow? Women have so much powerful potential to feed back to each other in positive and encouraging ways. But we're all too used to hearing just how great we are without much substance or thought behind that claim. I personally really appreciate the few friends that I do have in my life who'll tell me when I've hurt their feelings, because they are the same women who tell me where I'm doing a good job. I pray that I meet more women like this who can help to guide me on this journey to being more graceful and kind. So I want to encourage you in your relationships with other women to give them both thoughtful compliments and thoughtful constructive criticism, being a mirror to one another with intention, because it's already happening anyway. Well-behaved kids make you see that your child is being rude. A tidy home that houses 6 kids makes you realize that you probably need to get a cleaning schedule to handle things better with just 2 kids. And a sick wife who still serves her husband first can feel like a knife when you know that you're doing the minimum amount of putting your husband before yourself. But when you have that mirror, whether it's offered up voluntarily or you just get triggered by another woman's different life and areas of excellence, try to be thankful and thank God. He doesn't unravel all of our pride at one time, and He can't turn us into saints in a day. We have to work with Him bit by bit. Maybe you've already taken a small step in the right direction, or several small steps, or big steps, but He'll then challenge you to do more and to be more once again. I once heard someone describe women as God's glory distilled into its most beautiful and intense form. Man is the glory of God, and woman is the glory of man. In our fallen nature, in this secular world, we've been led far off of that path. But God knows we're all His daughters, and alongside Mary, He is patiently encouraging us to allow ourselves to be reformed and to live according to His will. That has been my prayer these last few months. Remake me in your image, I tell Him. Break me up into little pieces and remake me as you know I can be. So when I get that mirror thrust into my face, I've gone wrong, I've hurt someone, my house isn't peaceful, or I did totally ruin that steak, I try to say thank you. Now I know where to begin. Thank you all so much for tuning into this one. Please do share in the comments how you've been challenged or triggered recently when consuming content online or in your real life, and the areas you still want to grow and excel in. But remember, no matter where you are, and no matter how much you're struggling right now, you have huge potential, and you are so loved. I hope to see you all here again soon for the next one, but in the meantime, take good care everyone, and God bless.